Back in December, I was out riding my bike in Andorra. I was making a vlog about riding in the autumn leaves. At the end of the vlog, I made a small offhand comment about needing to get home for a very special phone call. I left it in there and I didn't think people were going to think too much of it. It turns out they did. People were asking, what was the phone call? Who's it with? What was it about? Well, today, after a number of months, a few more phone calls, a bunch of emails, and a very big box arriving to my door, I want to introduce you guys to my new bike sponsor and show off my new bike. I want to welcome to the channel, BMC. Yo, alrighty, so welcome to this week's episode of Tristan Take Video. If you've been following me for a little while now on Instagram, you'll know that this bike actually arrived about a month ago. I did a massive ride for my first ride on it, and then I've spent the last few weeks procrastinating making this video. The reason why I've been procrastinating is because this is such a big deal to me. BMC reached out to me back in November and asked if I wanted to be an ambassador for the brand. It was a huge moment for someone who's only been YouTubing for a bit over 12 months. I love to ride my bike, I love to race my bike, and after many years of riding some extremely high performance equipment, to be reached out to by one of the world's most performance oriented brands was absolutely incredible. It's a dream come true, and before I go any further, I want to say a massive thanks to BMC for their support. In this video, I'm going to take you guys through my new Team Machine SLR01. I've had it for 4 weeks now. I've done 2,000 kilometers. Last weekend, I raced it for the first time to a pretty good result. And this week, I want to take you guys through everything that I love about the bike so far and everything I'm really enjoying about being part of the BMC ride crew. So for anyone who doesn't know, BMC is a Swiss bicycle manufacturing company. That's what the initials literally stand for, BMC. For many years, BMC has been at the top level of the sport. They've had world tour teams, they've had world champions, they've had gold medalists. I can't deny that over the past few years, riding alongside Ben O'Connor has been a massive inspiration for wanting to be on BMC. And so when they reached out to me, it was a huge honor to have them recognize the value that I could bring to the brand as an individual. And on a personal note, it was incredibly exciting to know that I was going to be on one of the highest performing bikes in the pro peloton, and so I have no excuses. BMC have been manufacturing bikes for a number of years and all of their focus is on performance. Being Swiss, they're incredibly particular about the way that they manufacture their bikes, and the results come in the way the bikes ride. I've been riding the bike for a month now and I'm absolutely blown away. It climbs incredibly well, it sprints incredibly well, and throughout this year I'm really looking forward to getting to know the BMC ride crew even more and riding some more of their absolutely exceptional equipment. But today let's have a look at my new road bike, my BMC Team Machine SLR01. So the Team Machine SLR01, what is this bike? This is BMC's top of the line road bike. This is the 2022 model. As you can see, it's got a beautiful sparkly navy frame and it's got this red strip down the middle. The Team Machine SLR01 frame has been a decade in development. This thing is both light, it's aero, it's stiff, and it's really compliant as well. When BMC asked me what bike I would like and I said a Team Machine SLR01, they said, which group set would you like? For me, Shimano is key. So this bike has the new Shimano dura-ace 9200 Di2 group set. I'm going to speak a little bit more about the group set shortly, but for the moment, let's just chat a bit further about the frame. So the frame that I have is the size 51. The Team Machine SLR series comes in a number of different sizes, from 47 up to 61 centimeters. I got the 51 because that suits me. As you can see, the bars are fully integrated, and that's part of the beauty of this bike. It's got full integration in the front end. There's no cables poking out anywhere. The purpose of this is to keep the bike as aerodynamic as it possibly can be. If you don't like the idea of running the one-piece bar and stem integration, you can actually go for BMC's ICS2. What that is their integrated cockpit system with a two-piece bar and stem. This means that you can run a regular stem and regular bars and still integrate all the cables so there's nothing hanging out. For me, I wanted the front end of the bike to be as clean as possible, so I went for the one-piece bar and stem, and I'm running 40 centimeter bars by a 120 millimeter stem. Along with that front end integration, BMC have also made a few other ways to integrate parts into the bike to keep it as aerodynamic aerodynamic as possible. One of the big examples of this is the bottle cages. The bottle cages are BMC's AeroCore bottle cages. As you can see, they're integrated into the down tube and the seat tube. They're designed to be super aerodynamic and super light. I was a little bit skeptical to begin with because I've had plenty of shitty bottle cages in the past, but these things are really, really grippy. A few other nice features on the bike that you don't really notice are things like the integrated seat clamp, the flat disc mounts, and also the stealth dropout design. The frame also has clearance for up to 30mm tires. The entire bike is designed to be super clean everywhere, look beautiful, and I think they really, really pulled it off. So that's all about the frame. Now let's move on to the group set. As you can see, the bike is running a Shimano R9200 Di2 group set. This is Shimano's latest and greatest 12-speed group set that nobody can get their hands on right now. I was really impressed when I asked BMC if I could have a Di2 bike, that they said, yeah, we'll find a way to get you one, and they did. They came through with the goods, and the new Shimano Di2, I can tell you, is pretty bloody good. For those who don't know, Di2 actually stands for Digital Integrated Intelligence. The new dura-ace Di2 is 12-speed. I wouldn't say it's the 50% faster that Shimano claim over the old Di2 group set, but it is a little bit noticeably quicker. Where I do notice the difference is in the front shifting. The front shifting is very, very quick and it's very accurate. I did notice this in the race that I did last weekend as I was dropping down descents and then coming up climbs and needing to shift between the big ring and the small ring. It was absolutely seamless and flawless, and that's where I'd say the upgrade in the group set comes. The bike came with the new Shimano R9200 cranks, which do look pretty cool, but since filming the bike, I have actually swapped out the cranks for my old Shimano R9100 cranks for two different reasons. One is that I run 165mm cranks and the bike came with 170s. The other reason is that I wanted to be able to use my Stages left-hand side crank power meter on the bike. If anyone's wondering why I run 165mm cranks over the traditional 170 length, it's to do with saddle height. I have quite a short saddle height at 685mm, and so what the shorter cranks mean is that I have a smaller circumference in which I have to pedal, and this allows me a smoother pedaling stroke all the way through, and it means that my power is more consistent all the way through the pedal stroke. With the cranks, I am running 5236 chain rings. That is a semi-compact system. Part of the reason that I like running the 5236 semi-compact, even though I'm racing, is that I'm doing a lot of climbing here in Girona, and also when I go up to Andorra. I'm doing a lot of vertical meters. I like training in the hills, and I find the comfort of just being able to turn my legs a little bit easier is a massive bonus. At the back with the new Shimano Hyperglide cassette, I'm running an 1130 cassette. So this gives me all the gearing I need with that 36 tooth inner front chainring to get up any kind of climb. And you guys are going to see more about this in a couple of future episodes coming up where I'm doing some big climbs as fast as I possibly can. Are interested in the Shimano group set, one thing that's cool is it's actually backwards compatible. So if you've got a pair of wheels that you love and you've got an 11-speed cassette on there, you can actually just swap the 11-speed cassette out for a 12-speed cassette and you don't have to change the free hub body. That means that you don't need to upgrade your wheels with the group set. You can just jump from the 11-speed group set up to the 12-speed group set, no problem. Moving on to the brake levers, these are the Shimano R9270 brake levers. The brake hoods are actually quite aerodynamic. They're very comfortable to ride on and they fit my hands really well. These shifters are actually wireless, and so there's no cables run to a battery inside them. They just run a very small watch battery. Shimano claims that the battery inside the shifters should last for 1.5 to 2 years, so no problems there. So onto the rear derailleur. The rear derailleur is basically actually the brains of the Shimano Di2 system. This is where you charge the new Di2 through these days. The other thing you can actually do is download Shimano's new Di2 app and do a lot of your control and setup of the group set through the app in your phone. You can do things like you can remap what buttons on the system you want to do what. The other thing that I've actually done is I've set up my shifters so that the small satellite shifters in the top of the hoods now control my Wahoo. So on the right hand shifter, I actually have the option now by pressing the small top internal button, it changes the page on my Wahoo, and then on the left side I've got it set up so I can start a new lap. It's quite a nice way of just keeping you safe, keeping your hands on the bars, not needing to reach for your bike computer. A very quick note on the front derailleur, as I said before, the front shifting is absolutely impeccable. One of the things that Shimano talks about with their front derailleur is that it's 45% quicker than the previous model. It is faster, but I wouldn't say it's notably faster, and I definitely wouldn't go so far as to say it's 45% faster in the way that you feel it, but it is quite nice to have slightly faster shifting on the front and also more accurate shifting. One of the other things that Shimano say about their new front derailleur is that it's 30% smaller than the previous model, so it's actually technically meant to be more aerodynamic, which is really getting down to sort of finite details, but yeah, that's what they say on their website. And then the final part I'll speak about on the Groupset is the brakes. Now, I've been on rim brakes for a long time, literally my entire riding life. I've never owned a road bike with disc brakes. Something I can definitely confirm after many years of being on rim brakes is yes, disc brakes do feel different. They do offer more confidence in stopping. If you're riding around on the flat, I wouldn't say this is absolutely critical, but for where I'm riding in Girona in the mountains, and also a lot in Andorra where it's going to be very wet and it's also very steep, I'm really looking forward to the added confidence I get from being on discs. It seems like a no-brainer now that I say it, but I've been a bit in denial the last few years about disc versus rim brake. I do think rim brakes are beautiful, they look very traditional, they do a good job of stopping, and I haven't had any issues over the past few years, but disc brakes just offer that bit more stopping power, which so far I've been really enjoying. The other thing that Shimano advertises with their new R9270 disc brake calipers is that they offer 10% more pad clearance. A lot of people complain about disc brakes because they get a lot of rubbing when they've come down a big hill and the pads stay rubbing against the disc. I haven't really noticed any of that myself, and I would say that's most likely down to the fact that the new shifters offer that 10% extra clearance with the pads. I also really haven't noticed any noise. A lot of people were saying to me, oh, you're gonna notice the noise, but for me, I haven't noticed any noise, and that's also probably down to the fact that Shimano says that the new brakes are designed to be quieter, so they're very quiet, they stop really well, and that extra bit of pad clearance means there's no brake rubbing. So again, I've been really enjoying being on disc brakes. It feels like an upgrade, and after a lot of time on rim brakes, I'm happy to make the switch. So next, let's move on to the wheels, and these are a massive part of this bike. For anyone who's ever wondered, yes, the best way to reduce the feeling of weight out of a bike is to reduce the weight of the rims. The reason this is because the rims are the only part of the bike that are rotating. This rotating weight means that you have to pick up one side of the rim and push down the other side. If you can reduce the weight out of the rim, it means that you reduce the amount of weight you need to pick up on one side and force down on the other side, and it reduces the overall feel of weight in the bike when you're actually riding. The wheels that come on this bike are an exceptionally lightweight set of climbing wheels. They are the DT Swiss 180 Hubs Montchasserelle rims at 25mm deep. These are a very lightweight carbon climbing clincher designed for going uphill extremely fast. They're running DT Swiss 180 hubs, which are DT Swiss's lightest hub. They're running straight pull spokes for even less weight, and inside the hubs they've got ceramic bearings. When I first got on the bike a month ago, the first thing I noticed was the speed that it started going up climbs. I've got a big climbing day coming in my next episode for my first ride that I did. If you want to see more on this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. But for the moment, I can tell you that on my first ride, I did an exceptional amount of climbing, and the wheels really blew me away. The complete wheel set from DT Swiss comes in at 1266 grams, so that's a very light wheel set. All of this is to say that BMC has built a bike with a real focus on climbing. Every aspect of this bike is designed to go uphill, and for me, as someone who loves to go uphill, this bike hits the nail on the head. Moving on to the tires, the bike came with Pirelli P0 Race TLR SL tires in 26mm. They're a little bit narrower than I probably would have chose myself, but in terms of the rolling speed itself, the tires are actually really fast. They're a 120 TPI casing tire, so they've got quite a lot of threads per inch, which means that they're nice and supple. Their claimed weight is 245 grams in 26mm, so they're not the lightest tire on the market, but they are very grippy and they do roll very fast. They can be also set up tubeless, which I haven't done yet. I'm still running tubes inside them. In 2,000 kilometers, I haven't had any punctures. Once I've done a few thousand more kilometers and started to wear through the tires, I think I'll swap them out for something else to just have a different feel and just to see if it makes the bike feel any differently over rough surfaces. And that brings us up to a couple of last little details on the bike, and that is the saddle, the bar tape, and also the integrated Wahoo and Garmin mount that sits out the front there. The saddle on the bike is the Physique Argo Vento saddle. It's got a big cutout in the middle there, and it's also shorter than any other saddle I've run before. Very lightweight. It's got the carbon rails. A lot of guys in AG2R apparently rate this saddle quite highly, but for me, it's not exactly right. I've got something else in the mail at the moment, which I'm going to try out, and if it does work out, I'll tell you guys more about it in future episodes. The computer mount that sits out the front there is a really nice little integrated system that goes with the stem and bar designed specifically for BMC. It's very sturdy, rock solid, and I've had no issues with it, obviously, so far, as you'd expect. And then finally, the bar tape. I'm not actually sure what the bar tape is. I think this is BMC's own bar tape, or it might be something else from a different brand. It's quite comfortable. It's got a nice little cork feel there, good bit of grip to it, and so far it's done a really, really good job. Alrighty, and that is a complete rundown of my BMC Team Machine SLR01. It comes in at a whopping 6.4 kilos, so a really, really light bike. The bike performs as a true Tour de France stage winning bike should, and after spending the last couple of years riding alongside Ben O'Connor and looking at his BMC Team Machine, I was super intrigued to see how the thing would feel, and I can say it hasn't let me down. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, definitely give this one a subscribe so you can see what I did for my first ride. And if you haven't liked this video yet, please give it a like. It'd be really cool to see this video go sky high, given that BMC have given me the support that they have. I also want to say a really big thank you, not only to BMC for coming on and supporting me, but also to all of you guys who have been following along over the past year. The result of your following and your support and your watching of my videos has helped me get to this point. It's a huge compliment, and I owe it all to you guys as well. For the moment, it's time for me to head off to bed, and I'll chat to you guys all in the next episode very, very soon. Adieu.